plantain, all of those things, and hawk them on the streets. We intercepted a child in Gombe State. And that child, she was carrying orange. But you know, there's this thing they do with Rapa. Yes. Before the so inside that thing was plenty condom given to the girl child by the mother. The mother said, take this condom. You may probably get intercepted by men on the streets. Just plead with them to use condom. In the street areas. You get it? Plead with them to use condom. So the mother knows that she's exposing. I think we are terrible people. So she knows. But again, what will she do? Because she will not. The means of livelihood may have been affected by multiple things. Climate change may be one of them. So you see, when you don't take one action, you are causing trouble for another generation. When you use this plastic bottle, you know, you wind down car with your AC, you wind down car, you carry things and flame from the and you are home. You understand? When you do that, you are contributing to a crisis that will happen to another generation, that will happen to another. You are contributing to that. You may not know. Sometimes I ask myself, if I'm God, how do I even judge this? You understand? Because there are certain actions, some of them will do them consciously, some of them will do them unconsciously. What do you think will be going through the mind of a young lady? That just because she's selling, and then we interacted with that young lady. She said yes, when she goes to sell orange with, you know how mechanic is in, you know how they build mechanic, that they used to tell her they want to buy, and she will agree. Because when they sleep with her, they will buy the whole orange. Yes. When they sleep with her, they will buy the whole orange. So she returns home quickly, you know, to give the to meet the mother's target, so that they will be able to eat. You're not getting this story. We are getting it. Yes, sir. So this young lady is going. She's struggling to meet up with the routine activities, especially for her younger ones to eat. You understand? For her younger ones to eat. So she's looking at how do I deal with all these oranges that I'm carrying and go back with money so that my mother can buy things for us to eat.
And with this over time, she'll start to develop strategies to even sell herself.
Yes. And so all of these things will not even mean anything to her. All of these things will not mean anything to her. So in the course of all of these things, she can get STDs, she can get pregnant, she can carry diseases. You understand? Yeah, those things are there. And then the mental health, which is one of the bigger problems that we hide. We don't want to discuss it. It's difficult for people to sit there and discuss mental health. Because people think everybody is normal. Everybody is normal. A young lady has been exposed to sex the wrong way. So what do you think will become of her? You understand? What do you think she thinks she will be thinking all of these things is all about? You understand? So she's all through her life, you understand, that will look like a business for her. You understand? So there are so many things. What information is she going to pass to her children? Because you will think it will end with her. It's not going to end with her. What information is she going to pass to her children? So it continues to move from generation to generation. And that's how poverty continues in the cycle of those kind of people. So you see a particular family their first, first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation are just recycling around poverty. They don't know when they will break out. Just because their forefathers and all of those things were impacted by climate change. So the generation continues in poverty. Is it not when you go to school that you acquire the education that will help you to be smart in thinking? And then when you apply the knowledge, you'll be able to make money and all of that. So you see Okada man marrying banana or plantain seller, and then they continue in that circle. So children are affected by all of these things. So I have talked about how they can be affected their nutrition when the father's livelihood is affected. The tendency that the man will feed them well. So the man will now prioritize what will I give these children so that they will hope and first. So if it's yam, you just keep pumping them with yam. You will not be bothered about other vitamins and minerals that will help them to grow well and live well. Even though in this part of the world, we don't prioritize all of those things. You know, you look at some people's soup, you will not see oil in it. There are certain things we don't eat. I went to buy, what is it called? Watermelon. And then I asked the man that was selling watermelon. He had displayed watermelon, apple, this. In a very fanciful way. He was looking very nice. So I said, cut watermelon on me. He did like this. Then they say, okay, this one, what is it called? That red one. So he told me that this one is pure red inside. I said, fine, now that's what I want. He said, it's very sweet. He said it will be sweet. And I asked him, how we tested this. So you don't take it. He said, no, why is it? He was shocked that I'm asking him whether he has taken what he said. And I'm saying you should cut it. Hopefully, I said you must eat from it. He said, am I suspecting? I said, no, don't understand. Eat what I'm eating. That's the point. You are the one selling it, you should also be eating.
Yeah.
You understand? Because there are certain things I will drive from it. I also want to drive that thing from it. And so we started playing and joking. And then I told him that sometimes all of these things is not for one. Eat stuff for your own health so that you will live long, be able to make more money. Sorry. You see families, yes, closing now. No, I want to. You see families, once they get their goods or chicken, the next thing they're thinking is market. Once they produce anything, the next thing they're thinking is taking it to market. Nobody thinks of what the children will eat. It is how to turn it into money. And then buy banana fish. I hate that nonsense. Buy banana fish, use it to come and cook one small soup and force the children. So the vitamins and minerals that will help the children to grow properly. And you've taken it to another person in exchange of money. And then your own household is suffering from what you already have. Because you never prioritized them. Go ahead.
Yes, this is what I wanted to say because the last point that you made. In our environment, particularly where we work, where we have experience with this. I can remember as back as about 10 years ago, this is the kind of behavioral change that we want from our communities. This is before the issue of vanity and all that. We know how rich our communities are because that is where the source of every food in the urban area is coming from, the northern part. And then, like he said, the egg, you see, what did you call it?
Guinea fowl.
Guinea fowl, which is in fact more nutrition than other eggs. mostly 100% of the people that is coming is from the community.
Natural.
Yes, they are natural again because they need natural food and all those things. And then you see all these spinach and other things. And when we started doing this cash plus nutrition program, because it teaches people on what is around them that is nutritional, that has nutritional benefits to them and their children, especially to their children. Because when you look at most of the illnesses are around what is related to nutrition for the children in the community. And they became very, very surprised that this, as little as these things, they can be able to put away these foods that they usually, I can't remember the name, these foods that they usually use with soya beans and spinach and other things to give children that time in the community. So you can easily prepare it locally, and then yes, something like that. And then it has a very good around. So, like he's saying, our priority because of lack of ignorance or knowledge, you see that, and the love of money. We carry all these things, go to market, sell them, and then come back and publish by the same things that we went to chicken to sell.
Yes, and then of course, maybe you are going to do for our leaders at the top about because we respond to people where you have different prices. That when you buy out everything, I don't know where it is. That's what our the best part of the farm produce goes to the markets.
Yes.
After that, maybe 2-3 months after.
Remnant.
Remember, they give them that. But when you look for much to buy what is sold, they sold something 200 and they will still for much to buy 600-700.
Yeah.
So I think that is what it's approach. So it's a big problem. So children suffer more. Children suffer more. Let me talk about the gas flaring thing they do down south. If you see the heat that comes from this, first of all, these communities are completely and in total darkness. No light, no water. Their water, they are drinking water. But there's a place they call Bonny Island. To get drinking water in that place, if they tell you how much they sell one bottle of your water, you will ask them whether they know that this is Nigeria.
It's 900.
Very expensive. One bottle water.
No bottle water, pure water.
One bottle water. If they tell you the price, you will be asking them what do they think. The reason is that there's no water. Water in the community is contaminated. So you see the children, they don't walk and down, they are there because they're taking contaminated water. You see them, they are walking like this. You understand? Some children that don't know nothing. They have not done anything. They have not contributed in any of those things. So the children's health are affected, their nutrition is affected, their learning is affected, their protection is also affected. Just because me and you have failed to do what we're supposed to do to prevent and to protect the environment.
I think nothing more, just the giving recently the KRPC, I think the King Johnson have 78% the Zoom operation. About 2 weeks ago, women from the community, widow community, came out with in live with their children to protest, to protest from blood to go. Then that when the parallel was contact, the men cannot perform and do their other role.
In the other room.
Now, the children that they even get back, they are learning the literacy, just like when you talk because of that so now the government, but they are lucky that the children that came after those said are a little bit knowledgeable. So now you want to start this again, no way. And this is the effect of that the climate change. If that can also be that are converted to burn. People say we are burning out dollars. These are what we are supposed to be looking at. Now a community plan is even coming against this presentation that you cannot start the KRPC because of what we suffered in the past. They came out with people like 21 years old. You ask them, they are looking at you as if you remember the protest in Kaduna.
All right, so the final point I want to make before I leave, I will give it is about tree planting. I saw a video of about 30-something trailers.
Yeah, planks.
So you saw it.
Yeah, Benue.
These people packed plants, and they are moving. These are Chinese people.
Chinese companies, yeah.
First of all, that's illegal. Secondly, they have harvested all of this freely without paying a dime.
Yeah.
There's no action by anybody to replace the trees. What I usually ask people wherever I am, I will ask them, which fruit do you like? You will hear people say, I like mango, I like orange. How many have you planted in the course of your life? No. So all this while you've been eating the ones planted by people. When are you going to plant? So that people coming behind you will be able to eat. So I usually end my conversation with this commitment. So you have to commit to me that you will find a way this year and plant at least one tree. One tree. At least one. If you look for something you will plant, you don't see plant banana. Plant plantain. Let us plant something. Plant something. It doesn't matter whether you will benefit from it. Beyond the food and fruits people will get to eat, that tree also gives other things to the environment. It helps in controlling the environment. The oxygen, you get fresh oxygen because what they bring out is oxygen. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we take in. You understand? So that is very important. But you see, our mental, this big mountain is madness, but people don't know. It's madness. You live in the, if you visit locations where those foreigners that came for this thing, one of the things they do is to plant trees wherever they settle. Trees. For us, once you have small money, you put Java floor, all the compound, you put the everywhere. You don't want grass to grow. You have also not planted even flower within the same compound. And so you think you're a big man, but you are exposing yourself, to other things that are not going to be very helpful to you. Again, with increased wind, the type of wind that happens now, the only thing that can hold the force from affecting even your building is the trees. When it comes, the trees will be doing like this. So they are holding it from having impact on your zinc and all of those things. You understand? So if you have built those kind of houses and then you didn't put trees, the next thing that will happen, the thing will pull up. When the rain falls, the water will enter the house. So the money you would have spent in giving the children proper food and all of that, you spend those monies repairing a building you have done. I mean, you ought to focus on that. But just because you did not plant any tree, you see, you too will also continue to suffer lose some money as a result of that action. So you see, climate change affects, climate crisis affects every aspect of our life. And so I charge you with this responsibility to stand. If you don't report, if you don't raise awareness, if you don't create that sense of urgency, you understand, for people to take certain steps they're supposed to take, you may be contributing, to having an environment that is not safe for children to live, thrive, fulfill their full potential. You understand? You don't know, maybe a president, God has given a president in your community, but you people killed that child by your actions. And so the president that is supposed to emerge from your community is not going to emerge anymore because you killed the person. That professor that is supposed to come from your environment may have been terminated by your activities.
That's it, professor.
You understand? That child that's supposed to be that international person that will bring light to that community, may have been killed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we say thank you to him for keeping to time and being on the dot. We're going for the next session, which is very brief. I see that a lot of us wanted to say one or two things. So I think this is the time for us to speak about it in respect to climate change. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll be, we will. So I'll be calling on my colleague then, who will lead us in the next interactive session. And then I noticed, should we do an energizer?
Yes.
I think although they are reading the room, the coming door, and then also a lot of people are playing on their phones.
Yeah, that is one thing I noticed. Honestly,
I'm actually treating it as sending it out. I'm not playing on my phone.
No. Yeah.
So after you're done tweeting, I'm not sure we recognize him. Hi.
It's JJ now.
JJ, that's JJ. All right, JJ, we did a round of introductions, everyone. I don't know. Do you know me? So, let's get introduced ourselves, please.
Let's start your voice, right? Your feet. Your feet.
Okay, sorry.
They seem to like you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua James. I work in Canada. I just came from Delta and St. Petersburg. I'm the executive director of the Lab Media and the book Academy.
Okay, and one fun thing you like to do? You like to do?
You could see some side.
Yeah, sure. Eat well. All right, thank you so much, JJ. Good to have you around. So we're going in for that, but let's do an exercise. Up, everybody. Up. Okay. So we'll just do a little stretching. Yeah, like it's already stretching. Just like we're doing. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we're conversant with the coconut spelling game. Are we? No? Okay. Just say it, we will do it well. So we're going to spell coconut using our bodies. Are we ready? Are we ready? So we go C. Which side are you turning? Okay, so you are turning this way. Please, your C should not be upside down, sharp. Are we ready? So we go C. You're not telling me you're wrong. N. Your N is not any. N. U. C. Take your teeth backwards. All right, thank you very much. Please sit down.
Okay, so my name is a vivid background on climate change in Nigeria and how it relates to Save the Children International. So just briefly, we're going to be having an open session. It's going to be very interactive. Climate change in Nigeria and the reports thus far.
And what?
And its reports thus far.
So first off,
I want to ask, yes, sorry. Climate change in Nigeria. and the reports comes back. So I'll just be asking a couple of questions from our experiences and your one-on-one engagements. Just voice out. So, how much climate change reports have you seen in recent years? How many climate change reports have you seen in recent time?
Seen already.
Okay. Yes, in recent time.
I think I read an article where somebody was complaining about those people sell plantain, those fried plantain along the roads. I think this report was from Abuja. The man was asking the woman who was frying this plantain, why are you using leather? When they put the oil inside the frying pan, then they will not put the leather for the leather to ferment inside the oil. Then the guy was surprised. He said, madam, why are you putting this leather? He said, why do you think the plantain is always strong? It don't get cracked in the. That's where the guy was surprised. Then the guy never put something in that.
Wow. That's as well as any other person? Just share your experiences. Yes, go on.
I'm supposed to be at an engagement today about climate change.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I'm working here in Kano today for
Fortunately.
So, my experience in writing for climate change has been so wonderful because I write about climate change sometimes for coalitions. Yeah, I together myself with some other media colleagues. And one thing that interests me most is that almost all of them write for climate change. The advocacy has always been one. Just like the studying of said, the responsibility belongs on us. Our collective responsibilities. What can you take a suit? That's the two-sided or that's how can it be processed? It's something very little, but it counts. So it becomes on our individual responsibility and going further, that of the government. What are the policies the government need to put in place to address the issues of climate change? Where everybody here mentioned about waste disposal, very key. So I think it has been a wonderful engagement while reporting for climate change.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you very much. I just recently I was at botanist. That's somebody who studied botany in schools, and he was complaining that there's this particular tree. How many people have heard about mahogany?
yes,
You know, normally back of mahogany is partly used for paracetamol.
yes.
Right. And it's going to extinction now. So the guy is just trying to make what I on his own now. He's trying to develop the seed, find something according to him. So that this that possibly can be regenerated as what we call reforestation now. So he's already working towards that in Kaduna here. And a day after, I met a lawmaker from Zaria, and was complaining that before when we enter Zaria, there are these trees, they call it limit trees. They are the ones to welcome you, but now those things are gone. So he was confused to that. How am I going to get 500 seedlings so that I can replace, or at least in my own part, for this year 2024? So it's something that a lot of people already, it's a convention that is everywhere now. And one of the questions I have got to ask before is why is Save the Children now, talking about fronting this kind of program? Because they are meant to save the children, not the environment.
There's a correlation.
There's a connection. Because if you look at what spoke about in terms of climate change, and he was able to break it in the 3 breakthrough areas. Now, the story he was giving first and foremost was that happened in Yobe, where a young girl and her brother would always go to school. And sooner or later, erosion came and engulfed the paths where they go to school. And when the time it rains, there's flooding, and that place becomes serious water loss. It's filled. And one day they were going to school, and then water took the child away through that engulfed part, and he died, her brother. Okay. Now she also complained, or we also see that the school they are going to now, when it's raining, that means no school for going at all. Is that not an attack on education, man, by climate change? They can't go to school. And she said if they now decide to take, they will have to take a very long road to go and pass to school. Now, if rain starts falling in school, they cannot leave school. They'll have to stay here for close to 6-7 hours, so that the places that rain is falling would have dried a little bit before they can go back to school. So imagine rain starts falling at 3 p.m. and maybe they are still around school. You mean they'll have to wait for 6-7 hours, way into the dead night, before they want to go to school? So the issues are becoming too much. Now you see another person who in Katsina, she was given away into marriage as a result of climate change. The father said he's a big farmer, but now his harvest no longer coming the way he can't take care of her. So he gave her out to marriage. Guess what? She's divorced. The husband said he can't continue to take care of her because he too, his farm produce are not producing to sell well. Is she not a child? This person I'm talking about, as at the time of the interview, she was 17, but she was married at 15. So you wonder why Save the Children is now at the forefront of these things. Our children are suffering. Yes. Climate change is making them suffer. And we've not even spoken about the violence that erupts in different parts of the country and the displacements that happen. And I was sharing something at the initial training in Abuja about this, where people are now cramped in IDP camps. Yes. And the health issue, the sanitation, the a lot. We're in front of it because children are in front of it.
Yes, so that's to ask you that. I mean, we are saving the children as our name implies. So here to save the children. So children are our priority.
I'm maintaining the adults.
Yes, and not to kill the adults.
I think I'm very happy that Save the Children is actually coming into this. Because children and the climate, the environment are interconnected.
Yes.
If you talk of nutrition, the eggs and other challenges, they work hand in hand. Now, I'm also happy that we're coming with organizations like Save the Children and other partners. We are going to bring a new dimension into this climate change of a team. The climate change is real. Its effect is real on everybody. But today, it has also become another way to meet. Everybody is now rushing to climate change. Every portfolio, civil society, are now climate change activists. And now it is a new way to raise money to the. And if you don't do that, if we don't actually, we as media partners, if we don't open our eyes and who is doing this, we know the credibility your safety is not enough. If we don't open our eyes and talk to the world, we did a story of prison. That got announced now with the one to control it. Because of that story, they have an essay on climate change to the governor. Now you'll find out that a farm, I won't mention the name, which is very popular among these typical farmers out there, and they're working a long way trying to bring development in, the climate change awareness. When it now comes to COP28, the name of the organization was included. He had to run back to me and say, Sir, I want you to make a story from this. Our name has been removed from the place because somebody has said, what did you call this money that we get?
Estapo.
This is how we are going to share it. This is how we are going to share it. So, we have to put out a pen into a report. When they now got to Dubai, the next day saw a bill. I said, please join us in Dubai. That's a thank you for the report. So we need to work. That's a recent story. And that one I read from the organization of Egu also about people collecting money from partners. One of your reporters recently, then with that money goes into their
pockets.
without people suffering. And so you thank God they are coming into this so that we will be able to standardize the system.
Climate change is real, but I think Nigeria as a country, and especially with the government, we are not serious and we're not sincere about this. So in 2017 or thereabout, I was running after contracts that were awarded for the procurement of plastic waste recycling plants in 26 states, Kaduna inclusive. So when we got to Kodigora, that dump site in Kaduna,
Yes.
the one that was done for Kaduna was actually completed, and I can beat my chest that up to today it has never been used. So the director, I don't know environmental protection, but that year drove me into that plant. We opened machine was intact, except the pellets that were used to test run and nothing was done. And that machine was procured around 15 million or thereabout under Jonathan administration. For them, then when the issue was just the emerging to address the problem of plastic waste. The reason it was not used, nobody is used. Now we went to Osun State to go and look at similar projects. That one was never even taken over by the state government. It was covered by this group, and then water submerged. I have the picture. So when I asked the manager, he said because it was a federal government project under PDP, and then it was under a PCC. Now we went to Lagos. The one in Lagos we could not trace it. We searched and searched, and we could not trace the one. The only one that was working was the one in the and it was because Fine was the governor at the time when he left, and prior to that was not 1 minute. Excuse me. Now, the contractor left Nigeria because he was not fully paid, and then he said he got loan from Fidelity Bank, and we have time, so he ran away from Nigeria abroad. And he told me that people who actually he proposed the project, but the director told me that it was just going to make money, that he even collected values from him. You could see how unserious we are. So that's a year when the was having the World Environment Day. The then Minister of Environment, who is now a monarch in Nasarawa State, was telling the world only that Nigeria has completed 2018 out of the recycling plan that only 6, meaning 8 were waiting to be commissioned. He did not even know anything about this project. He did not know the state. I went to their ministry to ask them several times. When we published the report, you feel that yes, something should be done, but no way. Nothing was done. I left that when we published our report, the minister that came, the one lady took it up, tended there. I went again to go and know how plastic waste itself is poisoning people. I went to Lagos, I went to I came to Kano. Yeah, I went to Harbour Market. What is that market? It's Abada. Area. I went there again. That very long form work on how plastic waste is killing people silently. Besides being an environmental issue, when a plastic is burned openly, it releases a chemical that's called dioxin. And dioxin has been said to be part of the causes of cancer. So people who live around area where plastic and other plastic related waste are burned openly are also at the risk. This is a report that we did under ICR that feel that a serious government will take it up from and legislation and then, but they are more interested in what comes from the donor agency, international. Yeah, sometimes as a journalist, I feel like I am done here. Now in Abuja where we live, I remember in 2008. Under former Minister Ali Modibo, they said they were planting 1 million trees. A lot, you don't know. Now, the same trees that they planted, Great Green Wall. It's not even Great Green Wall. The one was just it's a separate one. The Great Green Wall is under ecological fund of this provided by the Ministry of Environment. This one is just FCT administration that they were planting 1 million trees across Africa. So here now they've sold all the lands to estate developers. They are demolishing trees. And you see how erosion is also not being linked. So I do not know how we are going to approach this again as journalists. The people who are supposed to start the campaign at the top are not serious. They are not aware. They do not even understand the import of this climate change. They just think it's something that is peculiar to Morocco. Yes, something that is peculiar to Turkey because they are athletes there.
Thank you, Mr. So because of our time, don't worry, we'll ask lots of questions so we get to answer, right? So our next question goes like this: how many of these climate change reports have you written? Have you reported?
Yeah, plus
Alright, can you give examples?
Okay.
What kind of climate change did you report on? Like what aspect of it?
Okay. Flood, drought, pests, and fire.
I think I've done 2 reports this January on climate change. First on the afforestation, and the second one on the plastic waste. It was the 2 reports were from a ministerial what's it called, retreat of the Ministry of Environment held in Kaduna. So I was going to comment on that when somebody was talking about the step taken by Lagos. The Lagos state is bold more than the federal ministry, because when they came out with their own communique announcing the ban of use of single-use plastic, they only limited it to their ministry and agencies. I was expecting they would come up with at least starting from Abuja, but they limited their ministry. So I have done that. Then close to that, this one is related to the first question you asked. In my postgraduate program, I did a term paper recently because of my interest in the area of climate change. Before now, my understanding about climate change was very limited. So I decided when they asked for term paper, I decided to do a research on what the newspapers are even writing about climate change. So, but the outcome of the findings from term paper, after doing a review of content analysis of 4 major newspapers, The Nation, Leadership, and Blueprints. No. Okay, sorry. Nation, this day, Leadership, and Daily Trust, was that the newspapers focus more on adaptation and mitigation rather than effects and even causes of climate change. So the idea is that, and the recommendation was that it should be better if newspaper reports will focus more on the causes and effects than just mitigation, because it will send the message to the people that the effect, when they know the effect can be severe, then they will take care of yes.
Well, again, I can think, sorry, I don't spend people.
Yes.
But again, I think don't worry. But again, I think the dynamics needs to be balanced. In the sense that if we focus more on the effects and causes of climate change on us, we should be able to have an adaptive measure or mitigation on the other hand. Because what I've come to see is a lot of people are going through climate change issues but don't know that it is climate change. Yeah. Especially in the rural communities that we talk about. You hear things like that God allowed it. You hear things, people think it's just a natural occurrence. A lot of people think, in fact, if I tell you the flip side of the story, the conspiracy theory to this climate change, it will shock you. That people think that there are people at the helm of affairs who are projecting these things to call it climate change so that they can perpetrate, certain agendas of theirs. So people need awareness of what climate change is and the adaptative or the adaptation or adaptation or the mitigation on at the other end. And that's why we're asking this question. How many of you have reported for climate change? What did you report about? How is it just an incident report or it was a solution driven report? Okay, so but can we do a 1 minute each?
Yeah. Okay. So, I'd like to know Bangladesh for climate change for change. It's actually south in Delta states, because that's where I'm from. The last World Bank report shows that 33 million refugees worldwide. And of these 33 million, 72% of them are women and children who are suffering from climate change. Now, I'm an economist, so the reports we did, the organization, was actually focusing on, because my specialty is actually on budgets. From 2012 to 2023, Nigeria have been making budgetary provisions for climate change and environment. And so, basically, the question should be, so what? The so what question in terms of implementation. Now, the truth of the matter was that when climate change started as a topic, I think Africa wasn't ready. Africa thought it was just a story for the Western world. And by the time Nigeria and Africa got to know that climate change is an issue to talk about, we overtake it, just as every other thing overtook us in COVID. We thought we were prepared for COVID, it came, we weren't prepared. So that's the story, for Africa. A lot of African countries make budgetary allocations for this money, but what happens to this money? For example, we have budgetary allocation for environment and climate change in Kaduna State. Since 2015, pick up the Kaduna State budget, and nobody is asking questions. Where are this money going to? What have this money? What have been used for as far as environment is concerned? And then we have the big ministry of environment. From 2012 to 2022, Nigeria as a country has made budgetary provision to the tune of over 280 billion naira for climate change. Now, what is happening to this money? Now, if you go to the riverine areas, the first we did was basically focusing on 4 huge communities along the riverine areas of Port Harcourt and Delta State, Yakaremon, Sobo, Focados, and Equator. Now, you see that on a yearly report, the VNP report for those 3 communities shows that on a yearly basis, about 800 children die as a result of climate change. Now, they live in the riverine communities. This is where they begin to. The same water they drink, the same water they use for cooking, and we have a lot of other side effects around climate change for those riverine areas. And then you have illegal refineries too, that is also causing climate change hazard for communities along that the coastal area. Now, we in the urban area, we talk about climate change. It is limited. But when you move to what I saw in the rural area, what I saw there in Focados and Kosovo, it is really something that we cannot talk about. But I think we should also focus on other aspects, like you said, going beyond what causes remedy and all of that. Government has a huge role to play. What are these monies meant for? What have we used this money as people to do to mitigate climate change and, of course, all these negative impacts? Thank you. Sorry, the X number.
Okay. So,
within that 4 communities. Wow.
Okay, so tell people, give us 10 minutes from the next session. You still don't want to take this session, so that we can. But I like what I'm saying. I see that he's writing down some story ideas from the conversation, and I think it's a good day. Hoping to get the links. Yes, let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people.
Okay. 1 minute. Thank you very much. As a journalist reporting in Kaduna State,
I think one of the issues that I observed that has underreported is the issue of climate change, particularly in the States, because for almost 12 years that I'm practicing journalism, I can only say that apart from the COFA and Kaduna State Environmental Protection Agency, I've never seen an organization, that accord much priority, in terms of campaigning, on the issue of climate change. There are so many issues that if journalists pay attention, or if they have some organization, that are willing to support them, they can report many issues that can respond the danger to the people, so that people to understand that. Particularly now, let me start at one or two examples. The issue of burning tires within communities, with the name of, burning head of cow or ram, or, go to the environment and see how the place will just become very bland, as you see smoke all around the place. It's one issue. Then go to rural areas or communities, see how people are now practically, cutting trees with the name of firewood. Then you see their environment or their houses, is under erosion. That house can easily fall down and kill people. So the impact of that climate change is underreported in Kaduna State. I think we as a journalist, we need to evolve and rise up to see what we can do and tell people how it affects children and the community.
Okay. So I think, are you disagreeing with him or you want to contribute?
Well, I
You have an opinion. Okay, go ahead.
So when you said that it depends on what you mean. If you want an organization if you want to report climate change from press conference or press statement, you may have your opinion. But as a journalist, trained journalist, if you rely on investigation, getting your information independently, correct information, I need an information. During the COP28, if I also the weekend, this thing, People's Day, that Andrew is special report page. That's a story on how Nigeria turned climate change to jamboree. That is what Mr. Angelo said. Instead of going to Dubai to solicit for aid like other countries, they were busy somewhere in Nigeria for enjoying themselves. And we were following them online. We follow them every day with all the carbon, all the people who to that place. So you don't need anybody to tell us to write that. So when we put that on ground, and we go to the call from my head office in Abuja that if you like it, although they said, please continue such a work, this good. Now, I mentioned that of recent, I think that's about the issue of Rido Village. Maraman, when the press finished protest, most of my colleagues are not allowed. I think it's your Rido Village, guys. Rido Village. Now, after the whole event, I put in a write-up. Climate change, effect of pregnant women and children, we have to interview.
Understand? Okay, you can compare between climate change, education, and consent. So which one is above?
It's more reported. Okay, so in comparison to the different ministries and all that. All right, so we understand that
I want to align myself with that. Of course, climate change issues are being underreported in Kaduna to some extent, because a lot of journalists who dwell on conferences are being invited for this, for that. So 2 weeks ago, I participated in reviewing the Kaduna State draft policy on climate change. 2 weeks ago, where the Network for Civil Society in Environment gathered together in collaboration with media, where all the reporting now comes only to media. Myself and another media organization who gave their own contributions to that draft policy, review of that draft policy. Their major aim was advocacy. How are they going to ensure that that draft policy is being reviewed and now taken to the State House Assembly for for possible adjustment to that policy, and of course to ensure that government do not emphasize too much on irrelevant things that are in the documents. For example, a lot of people mention of duplication of authority. For example, KEPA and which other agency? There are a lot of duplication of authority in Kaduna State. You know, for example, somebody gave an example where a baby was found in a dump site. So a lot of people were saying, who are they going to come? Is it KEPA? Is it police? Is it human services? You know, it's an argument on its own. So I think basically I wrote 2 reports on that. At the level of that policy and review, and at the assembly where the network took the edited draft copy to the assembly for them to check and see how they are going to make possible adjustment.
Okay, just before we go to the fourth question, I want to ask, because now we're having these questions that asked are very rhetorical, so we could reflect on them. We're saying climate change in Kaduna State is underreported. I want to ask a question. Do we see climate issues in Kaduna State?
Yes, yes.
Climate issues.
So what is the report? What is our
So what I'm trying to say is, if the issues are there, then the onus lies on us to do the needful and report it. As against waiting for a ministry to issue a statement or a conference to happen or a support to happen. For instance, for instance, I read a story about white magic. It was done by him. He went to, was it Kano here? You came to Kano and did an undercover and became a seller of white magic. Yes, he became a seller of white magic. To show you how in-depth the report was. I read the report and I'm like, I wouldn't even try it if it wasn't, even if they give me money. For you to have gone to be a seller, to interact with customers and even have a name, and get a supplier, I mean, it shows how in-depth you see issues and you want to report it. So we can change. We can
How much profit did he make?
So we can change the narrative of another reported sector to the agenda of Kaduna State, sir.
And you have spoken my mind, so I pass on to the next person.
God, I'm sorry. Yes.
That has negative impact on children. Let me recall our last engagement in Kaduna, where you anchored everything.
UCH.
Yeah, I think
UHC. Sorry.
Those brilliant children were a representation of the elite class.
Yes.
And a lot of things are happening in cluster environments where some of us live. And the negative impact of climate change is impacting seriously on the education of these children. One, somebody mentioned the issue of tree felling to make charcoal for as alternative fuel. If you look at most of in the value chain, most of those involved were school-age children. Their papa don't go to school because it's a lucrative business.
Yes.
That's number one. The issue that was discussed earlier on about recycling. If you look at all the actors at school-going age children, they are no longer going to school because they found it to be very lucrative. Once they gather the West, they take it to certain points where they were giving money instantly. So I think these are issues that Save the Children should be very fair to advocate or to kind of involve themselves directly. Because most of these children, as I'm saying, after getting this money, the next thing is they go to buy drugs.
Drugs, yes.
So I raise my.
So these are issues that Save the Children and the media works. Don't take yourself out. All right, thank you so much. A round of applause for ourselves. It was quite interactive. Thank you. So we'll move on to the next episode, next session rather. We're supposed to take or have lunch by 10 o'clock.
3 p.m.
No. It has to be like 12 something to 1:30.
Shola, you wicked though.
It's not Shola.
It's not Shola, it's shooting your stomach to judge other people.
You know how to be looking for break.
From 12:30 to 1:30. But how many of us are hungry?
No, all of us are hungry.
Hungry, yeah.
Speak for yourself.
So if we're not hungry, we can stretch it to 1:30. 2:30, and then we do 1:30 to 2:30 break.
Yes,
Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Just a second. So this is the personal result.
All right. One house, please. So, very quickly, myself and my colleague, will be taking you through the introduction to safety in our media. So, I'm going to show a slide with a statement. And I'm going to leave that statement for 10 seconds and then take bells. And then you tell me what you saw. Are you ready? My next slide is going to contain a simple statement. After 10 seconds, I'll take bell. And then you tell me what you saw.
Don't snap it. Watch this.
Is it masturbation or masturbating? I can do it.
Oh, sorry.
So I couldn't get it.
Everybody.
So who saw it?
Okay. All of us.
Okay. Tell me what you saw.
Masturbating. There is a
Masturbating is not a thing. I do it occasionally.
I even introduced some of my friends to it. But they comment, it will be not it.
It's supposed to be diva.
Yes. Masturbate.
Are you sure?
Yes, not masturbate.
Is there a word that
No. It's supposed to be B, not D. Masturbate.
Okay, so let me explain. Masturbating is an act or an action of dating yourself.
Okay.
Taking yourself out for lunch or dinner.
Oh, we are already looking at the question.
It's masturbating.
Thank you. Well, I need to.
It's actually not a thing.
No. But in a split second, what did you saw? What did you think you saw?
For those of us that are Christians, there's one quote of the Bible that they always use in admonition of when we have some visitor. Titus 1:15, to the unclean mind, everything seemeth unclean. That's what just happened to some of us.
But excuse me, which verse that this one is not in the dictionary?
Titus 1:15.
I can't find this word in the dictionary.
Yes, you may not find it in Oxford Dictionary.
It's a contemporary language.
Yes.
Okay, contemporary. Maybe adapted like selfie and others.
Yes.
So because we work a lot with children, Save the Children always encourages us to be mindful and watch carefully to kind of what you use and how you engage with children, especially because they are very vulnerable, right?
Okay. I'm impressionistic. Observational and
Can someone tell me some basic forms of child abuse? When you hear child abuse, what comes to mind? What are some basic child marriage? Child labor, molestation,
pedophilia, PDF.
Physical abuse.
So even the ones I didn't even capture the same thing. So
Exposure to graphic images.
amazing. So,
I think therefore you do.
Plus, you don't hit us bullets.
No, it also.
We are just on our own.
You know, it was at all.
as media people, when engaging with children, there's need to put at the back of your mind that these kids will be vulnerable to a lot of things. And these are a couple of things they will be vulnerable to. Children may have, they may have lost their parents or caregivers, seen their home destroyed, lost their access to food and clean water, provide sexual assault or witness sexual assault, seen their school destroyed, seen death of loved ones, witness atrocities, and that. Right. Are we together?
Yeah, we are.
How are you balanced? What are the risks to the interviewee?
Many.
Stigma,
A couple of them.
stigma,
Stigma.
profiling, labeling.
Yes. So some of these things could cause harm to the child. Now, if you look at this picture, this is one of our interventions. You can see that the child is completely covered. No, what's this? Stress. No noticeable. Yes. You don't know who is this. You can't identify her. And so when we interview children, especially for documentary purposes, we don't put their real names. If her name is Amina Yusuf, on our concept form, we have a place where you can fill the name you want us to use instead of the real name. So say she cheats maybe Martina. You just write Martina with asterisks beside it. And then you don't display the location, the parent's name, nothing to do with the child. Right?
In addition, sir,
Yes.
for those in the broadcast,
Yes.
we will digitally blur the face. Then we will also auto-tune the voice so that it will sound something else.
Yes.
Sorry, I want to draw your attention on this particular picture because the picture says a lot of things, a lot of messages in the picture. Assuming this is a secondary school or a boarding school, where that particular girl, the only one owns this kind of wrapper or skirt, it can be easily identified. So in a picture like this, as long as you want the girl to be safe, everything should be covered. Because it's possible that black and white.
Depends on
Let's go to the market.
No, the other one.
Which one?
The black and white now.
This one.
Yes.
Yes.
Even it can be the only one in the school where this can.
How are you?
So another thing with this picture is
How are you sure this? How are you sure this is
this is
not?
our safe space.
This is CFS. They wear mufti.
It's our safe space.
No, the reality is this: the watch she's wearing will also be altered. This might not be the watch she's wearing.
Yes.
originally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then some people go as far as recording from behind.
From the air. Yeah.
Just so you don't avoid everything.
You know, we know Femi's head from everywhere. Very captured.
All right. So what are the risks to the interview? You started mentioning this earlier. So here we have suicide or self-harm, sexual assault, trafficking, traumatization, reinforcing damaging stereotype of you, social stigma, retaliation from government, and arrest or detention. Are there any risks to others?
Yes, plenty.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I'll call on my colleague Rhoda to come and take us through some case studies.
Riders.
Write us through some case studies.
I was going to respond to say I cannot write. Then again, I realized my mind is not perverse. So
Thank you so much, Menira. Okay, so Are there potential risks to others aside the child?
Yes.
Yes, let's hear you.
All right. While I will try my best to cover the details of the story, which it's in the work, it will be released soon. It's one of my production. A particular palace guard working with a particular chief. The chief's son raped the palace guard. Not that one. Not that one.
Okay.
Raped the palace guard's daughter, and they did everything to cover it up. End of the day, the man was even threatened that if it goes out, that there will be consequences. The girl reported to an NGO that gave us the story to work on, and eventually the palace guard has been seriously sanctioned to the point that the palace guard has withdrawn the daughter from school because she discussed it with her teacher that noticed that she's withdrawn and not herself again. That was how it got to us, and because of researching for the movie, we had to talk, and that was how the father knew it was out. Now the father said he did it to protect the dignity of his daughter. And now we hung the story. Is it right? And people said politically not right, but morally maybe right. Religion came into it. It's very, now what we are coming out is that now a child was raped by the son of a chief. The palace worker's daughter that was raped, end of the day, one, she suffered the brunt. Two, the father is now suffering for what was done to the daughter. These are some of the kind of harm that can come to even family members. We are praying that maybe here would also help us to know how to solve this problem without putting the family members in the line of fire or close persons. Okay. That's one experience.
In my community, in fact, some families have even lost hope if such cases happen to their children or ward. And I'll give two examples. It's not even an allegation because someone was caught red-handed, sodomizing a young chap, school-age chap. He was beaten. Luckily, the jungle justice was prevented and he was taken to the police. But his mother, the culprit's mother, had money. Today, the same guy is moving around freely in the community, even gloating. So people are now hopeless that if such thing happened to their children in my community, because I live in the locals, even if they take it forward, they don't have any hope of getting just.
You the story, present.